Yeah, hello family and friends. Hello everybody. This is your brother Anzansi. Once again, I'm here to share my view, it's my opinion about our continent, Africa, the leadership of our continent, Africa. And then as we, we all want the best for our continent, and most often we blame our leaders, we insult them, we call them names, puppies, sellout, and all that. But the title of this my talk is if it were to be you, what will you do? Because most often we criticize them. I am not here to defend any African leader. I am not here to defend as a Pan Africanist. I think everybody will know my stand. I am not saying they are doing anything, they are doing what they're supposed to do. I am not saying they are not puppets. I am not saying most of them are not sellout. But my question tonight is, or my question today is, if it were to be you, what will you do? Because most often we call them puppets, we call them sellouts and all that. But the question is, or what I realize is, or what I'm thinking, is that most of them, if not for the eyes that are watching them behind, they would have wished to do what is necessary to make Africa a better place for their citizenry. But there are eyes watching them, the superpowers, whatever name you may give to them. There are eyes watching them, and then and they are human beings just like us. They are human beings just like me and you. They also scared of their life and all that. So, and then history will tell you that we, the citizens of Africa, most of the time, the leaders who normally come out boldly to defend and to do the right thing for their citizens, most of the time, when the eyes that are watching them behind, when they come for them, we normally give them out to their enemies or to the enemies of Africa. Enemies of Africa. A typical example is history will tell us a typical example is Kwame Nkrumah. Nkrumah was out there working not just for Ghana but for the entire continent of Africa. He wanted the best for the entire continent of Africa. And what did we see? Kotoka, military, connived with the CIA, and they overthrew Kwame Nkrumah. And Ghanaians were jubilating, which shouldn't have been so. So, if it were to be you, what will you do? Not only Kwame Nkrumah, we saw in Congo a vibrant, young, energetic, visionary leader in the person of Patrice Lumumba. He has the desire, the passion to make sure that he put Congo at the rightful place where it's supposed to be or where it belongs. To use the natural resources of Congo to benefit the people of Congo and then to the entire continent of Africa. What did we see? Belgium, or let me say Mobutu, with the help of Belgium. We also saw what happened to Patrice Lumumba. Unfortunate. The betrayal. We all saw it. So, if it were to be you, what will you do? Not only him, we saw on Thomas Sankara, a great visionary young leader. For just 4 years, he turned the entire economy of or situation of Burkina Faso. But what did we see? His own friend, whom he seen as a brother or like a brother, connive with France, and then they kill him. So if it were to be you, what will you do? It's my question. Not only then, recently, just recently, we also saw what happened to Muammar Gaddafi. Gaddafi was all over Africa trying, talking to our people to conscientize them, to tell them about the need for Africa to use the resources of Africa for the benefit of Africa and the United States of Africa that our ancestors, have been crying for. We all saw it. And what happened? NATO came for him. We never stood behind him. We give him up to NATO, and they assassinated him. So today, if it's me, what will I do? Don't you think I will connive, or I will collaborate, or I will listen to the West rather than listening to my people who I know at the end of the day will give me out to the enemies to kill? I hope, or am I making sense? I hope I'm building a point. Because the reason why I say that is because when the president of Ghana came into power in 2017, he started talking, having the passion, talking as to the way Africa should use our resources. Africa should stop going out there begging for money, begging for loans, for hangouts and stuff like that from the West. It is never going to solve the problem of Africa. He was saying this to the president of France. And after that, the man has been quiet when it comes to Pan-Africanism. Because when he spoke about that issue, or when he spoke like that with the president of France, everybody, all the youth of Africa were so happy, were inspired about his vision for Africa and his thought. But what happened? What did we see? He's now quiet. He's no more talking about those stuff. Why? Because he's scared of his life, and then he know that if he continue to talk like this, when they come for him, we, the citizens of Africa, will give him out, just as we did to Kwame Nkrumah, just as we did to Marcus Garvey, just as we did to Malcolm X, just as we did to Thomas Sankara, just as we did to Muammar Gaddafi just recently. So, if it were to be you, will you listen to your people who you know at the end of the day will give you out to your enemies, or you quietly work with the enemies and get out of the office when your time is due or when your time is up? You see, recently we had a president of President Paul Kagame was complaining, was talking about as to how his life may be in danger for his stance for Africa. There is something fishy. There is something that he was trying to tell us, because he said it categorically clear that what he's doing, he was speaking to the youth, to the young, to the youth in Rwanda, and then he was telling them what he's doing. They may come for him, but if they come for him, the youth must continue. So how come all the time, anytime an African leader come out to talk or to stand for his people, then he become a threat to the global powers, and then when they come for him, we, the citizens, will not stand behind him, or will not stand to defend him? Do you think if we allow that to continue, we'll ever get a patriotic leadership in Africa who will stand for Africa? No, because they are as human beings as me and you, and they know if they stand for Africa, we, the citizens of Africa, will betray them when the enemies come for them. Just as history will tell us that when they came for Kwame Nkrumah, we give him out. When they came for Patrice Lumumba, the same thing. We will betray our own selves and then turn up crying for what, turn up crying and mourning over what Europeans or other people are doing to us. I think it's about time we stop that betrayal. The former president of Ghana said, Jerry said, it's better to know your enemy, to have an enemy, than to have somebody who is a betrayer. Because Africa, we end up having too much betrayals after traitors, after independence. A lot of people came out like to defend, to fight for Africa, to make sure that Africa get herself in the rightful place in the global community. But too much betrayals, too much unpatriotic citizens that end up bringing Africa back to its knees. So I think, in my opinion, I'm just going to make this video a little bit short. I think, in my opinion, for Africa to move forward, there must be a prize for people who betray the movement of Africa. There must be a prize, because it is only in Africa that you see people who sell Africa out and still live in Africa peacefully without anybody disturbing them. Nowhere in the world you see that. In America, if you dare do that, you'll be killed. In China, it's even worse. Everywhere in the world, as long as you betray a country as a citizen, you're gone. But in Africa, we see it. People who are traitors walking around doing whatever they want, who betray the countries, and their names are they are even giving names after international airports, like in Ghana. The man who betrayed the Ghana or the entire continent of Africa in the name of Kotoka, they name him after the Ghana International Airport, Accra International Airport, which is unfortunate. It's so sad. If we continue to honor people who betray us, then we're going nowhere. It is only in Africa that we honor people who betray us. Nowhere in the world that people do that, and then we expect to see good leadership. No, because I have family, I have life, and I value my life, and I know there are powers out there. If I stand for my people, they will come for me. The only assurance I will need is for my people to stand with me when they come for me. But we don't get that. When Gaddafi was crying for Africa to come for his aid, Africa didn't come for his aid. Same thing, Patrice Lumumba, same thing, Thomas Sankara, same thing, Kwame Nkrumah, same thing. It's countless. So if we continue to honor those who are traitors to our progress, then we shouldn't sit down and be complaining and then be blaming other people for our misery. It means we are our own problems. And then the earlier we realize it, the better. Because as I said, there must be a price on the head of people who betray the progress of Africa. Because just as I was saying, what are we doing to make sure that the good small leaders we have in Africa are protected? No. So how do you expect how do you expect Akufo-Addo to stand for his people? He wouldn't, or he can't, because even recently in Cote d'Ivoire, when Laurent Gbagbo stood for Cote d'Ivoire, France came inside Cote d'Ivoire, captured him, and handed him to the International Criminal Court, so-called International Criminal Court, and put their puppet in there. And then he's there to work for them. And then we all see the results. Just recently, when the West African community decided to have their own currency, what did we see Cote d'Ivoire came out to do? Cote d'Ivoire and Senegal quickly came out against that. Quickly. Why? Because they know they are being put in there by the French. So they are working for the French. But if Laurent Gbagbo were still in power, or if a patriotic Ivorian was the president of Africa, I don't think we would have West Africa, ECOWAS would have had the problem that they are having. But can you blame Alassane Ouattara? No, you can't blame him. Why? Because he knows if he does not stand with France and stand for Cote d'Ivoire, for the people of Cote d'Ivoire, what France did to Laurent Gbagbo, France would do the same thing to him, and nobody would not be there when he called upon the people to come to his aid, nobody wouldn't come. Nobody wouldn't be there. So it is time for Africa, for Africans, to make sure that we stand, the citizens, make sure that we stand with our leaders and then demand accountability from them. Yes, as I said, I am not somebody who would, for once, support puppet leaders, sellout leaders, not for once. But my question is, if it were to be you, what will you do? Because the leaders who stood for Africa, all of them, for one way or the other, has been forced out of office or been assassinated. They have been forced out of office or been assassinated. And nobody came to their aid. So, if I am coming to office, if I walk into office and two proposals are presented to me, one is work for your people and the other is work for the corporations that has power to either move you in office or leave you in office. They have the power to do that. So the two options has been presented to me. What will I do? I look back in history. Those who stood with their people, this was what happened to them. And those who stood with the corporation or the Western world, this is what happened to them. I wouldn't have no choice than to go for the Western proposal, because I know if I go for the proposal of standing for my people, when the Western world comes for me, my people will betray me. Betrayal is the problem, has always been the problem of the African man. And we have to say it. We have to stop betraying ourselves and to realize that if Africa is to gain respect or have her rightful place in the community of this world or in the community of nations, then we must do everything we can to protect the leaders who are standing for the mother continent of Africa. We must do everything to protect those leaders who are standing for the continent of Africa. Imagine if we had stood behind Gaddafi, what would Africa be today? But Africans were jubilating. Some Africans were jubilating purposely because Gaddafi was killed. Ignorantly jubilating. So it's about time we Africans put a penalty to people who are traitors to the continent, to people who are betraying the continent. It's about time Africa put penalty on their head, because everywhere in the world, if you betray a nation, your head is gone. Everywhere, in America, in China, in Europe, no continent honor those who are traitors, except for Africa. It is only in Africa that traitors and their families are walking freely after betraying their respective nations. Nowhere, no other continent that you'll see that. As long as you are a traitor, you and your family lives are in danger. But in Africa, a traitor, somebody can betray a nation, him and his family are walking freely. And that is why we normally don't get the rightful patriotic leaders into office. Because those who are ready, who are patriotic, and are ready to sacrifice their lives for their respective nations, anytime they come for them, nobody is ready to stand with them, especially the citizens. And history is there to prove it. So, my brothers and sisters, as I said, my question is, if it were to be you, what will you do? So this question is just to tell you that some of our leaders, if given the opportunity, or if we were to stand with them, they will do the right thing. But the fear is they will not be able to do it because they know if they try it and the corporations came for them, we will willingly handle them out. So it's better for them to cooperate and allow the looting of Africa to continue, or so that they'll continue to be in their office, enjoy the small luxuries that they are enjoying, or be with the citizens, so that when the corporations come for them, they are gone. So if it were to be you, what will you do? Anybody would choose that, because history is out there, and especially we black people. It was we who give out Marcus Garvey. Yeah, it was a black man who shot and killed Malcolm X. So why are we always giving out our best to our enemies? Does it worth it to lead Africans? Any country, no matter what the leader is, as long as the leader sworn into office and swear to protect the constitution of that nation, the nation too will protect him. Only in Africa that a leader doesn't have protections from the nation. Yes, because history has told us, and the evidence are there to prove it. In America, as long as you are sworn into office and you swear the Constitution of America to protect every American, then the country too will protect you. But in Africa, when they come for you, as I said just recently, recent examples are Gbagbo, and then Gaddafi. When they came for them, the African Union couldn't do nothing, absolutely nothing, to protect them. So, do you think it would have been better for Gbagbo to either go for the French proposal to continue selling out Cote d'Ivoire to the French and remain in office, or it was right for him to say no and end up in jail? I think these are some of the questions that we have to be asking ourselves. And we, the new generation of Africans, have to realize it. And then began to develop that patriotism, the love for our respective nations or for our continent, and be ready to defend and protect our leaders who are ready and willing to do the right things to make sure that Africa move forward. So as I said, the video is not going to be really that long, but I've been thinking about it. Thank you very much, everybody. May the ancestors bless all of us. Thank you.